Born into a real fight wasn't right. Where can she dream here?
You know, it's days like today where you really realize your limitations. And I tried to record the shows and tried to edit the show, and then because I've recorded both videos in advance, and I was going to go on ahead and take tonight off and watch the hockey game and sit down with the kids and the wife, and we were just going to relax tonight. Then I went to go try to edit this show, and the 1 minute and 25 seconds I tried to take out of the video are the minute and 25 seconds that I was able to keep with my editing. My skills as an editor, not that great, apparently. So, but that's okay, because now I'm going to spend it with you. Happy Wednesday, everyone. My name is Zach Clayton. I'm the president and founder of Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the pACT channels. We have a truly amazing show for you because my guests are just that good. First, we will be talking to the goddess of the grape, Stephanie Samos, along with Maria Dolez and Stefan Heinz of the Human Contract. And as promised, I signed my human contract this morning. So took me a little while to get it done, but I got it done. It is signed. I have signed my contract stating that I'm in it to win it. We're in this to make a difference and to help as many people as we can. So it is the halfway show, and we will be talking to the Human Contract, telling you a little bit more about them. I encourage you, get on board with the Human Contract, sign your own, and make a difference when it comes to other people and making sure that everyone has the civil rights that we all need. You know, nobody should be taken advantage of. All right, live, let live, and help live. So, but that's coming up in just a moment. My little friend right here is very important to all of my families in Northern Colorado, because for the next 48 hours, if you scan this, the next 8 families of 4, if you scan this, you can get 4 free tickets to Saturday's Colorado Grit game with us in the Cub Club section. Families are going to get a color book and stickers and erasers and a new necklace and all kinds of fun things. And we're going to hang out together and have some fun for free. You get to watch the Colorado Grit and hang out with us, and we can learn some stuff about each other, our community, and have fun together. There is no obligation on your part, none. Just come, hang out. Next 8 families, get a family of 4, get free tickets to the game. So reach out to me today, no later than tomorrow, because these tickets are not going to last very long. So next 8 families, 4 tickets for free. Right after this real quick spot, the goddess of the grape joins me with Maria Dolez and Stephanie Heinz. Please, if you understand some of the bad things that are going on in the community, enjoy this, because there is so much good that can be done if you sign the Human Contract. Good Wednesday to everyone. How are you guys doing? It is the halfway through the month show, so we get to spend it with one of my favorite people in the world, the goddess of the grape, Stephanie Samos. How are you doing, Steph?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. How are you, Zach?
You know, I couldn't be much better. In about 26 hours, we are going to be live. And I'm glad that you asked that, because in 26 hours, we're going to be live right here on all of these channels. And we're going to be spinning a wheel that's going to pick out randomly names that are going to receive upwards of 50 tickets to Saturday's game with us at Community Pay It Forward and the Community Dare to Care Cub Club. So the Colorado Grit called us and wanted to team with us to get some families together. And it's perfect because of what we do with the Cub Club stuff. You know, we've modeled that after trying to get kids to understand that it doesn't take money to help people. You know, smiling at someone, giving someone just bending down and picking something up when they drop something at a grocery store. You know, you see somebody who's struggling to get something off a shelf and you have the ability to do it. Simple things can help people. And the question we are asking kids, and I want to show this real quick, for anybody who's within driving distance of Greeley, Colorado, you are eligible. So come and join us. All you have to do is scan the QR code right up in the corner or there on the flyer and answer kids the question, what can I do to help someone in my community right now? You answer that question, have mom and dad record you on their phone, scan that QR code, and post that to the form. And you will be in a drawing for free tickets to join us at Community Dare to Care, the Cub Club, and the Colorado Grit on Saturday. So I look, Stephanie, you know me just about as well as anybody, and you know how much I love hockey. And to get a chance to go and watch a game, watch a game that management has one of my all-time favorite players with David Clarkson from the New Jersey Devils as part of the management team. Yeah.
And you get to spread the
And
message of what you're doing with Community Pay It Forward, Dare to Care, and the Cub Club.
and we get to do this with families in our community and let them know that, you know what, you're not alone. There are people out there who can help you, and you can help people by joining us. It's just it's such a neat thing, and I'm so excited. Once again, 26 hours from now, we're going to be right back here live, and we're going to be spinning that wheel, and we're going to be drawing names for the winners of our tickets. So
get those
so
submissions
that.
in. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So fun.
But Stephanie, how are you doing right now? And we, just to let everybody know, this is a recorded show, so we're talking about this on Saturday. So excuse the language here, but the shit hasn't hit the fan yet for you, but we know it's coming. But you guys are starting to see the snow of this extremely cold weather that we've got coming up, right?
Yeah, so the last few winters here in Northeast Pennsylvania have been actually kind of mild compared to what we've experienced in the past. I mean, we've had snow in the past that's been taller than me once they've plowed it, because there's so many storms back to back. And we kind of got lucky the last few years with mild weather, but January's starting to ramp up for us for sure, where we've had several snows already and they're talking about a few more on the way. So it's cold, not as cold as by you, but I feel like that Arctic air is coming our way from what I'm understanding. So we're in the mid 30s right now. We had snow flurries this morning, but by you, tell me how cold it is again.
It is -7 for us right now, and that is Fahrenheit. So it's no joke. I mean, it is cold enough right now that when you go outside, it'll instantly send your body into shock, and you won't understand that your body's shutting down. And when it does, it'll be too late. So, Steph, we were talking about this before we went live. This is the time where you really got to watch out for the people that are in your community and make sure you can do whatever you can to help them out. Carry that extra hoodie, carry that coat in your car. And if you see somebody out there, take care of them, because this is serious. I mean, we're talking this week, temperatures anywhere into the -40s.
Definitely frostbite weather, and definitely not good for people who are traveling on foot. So for sure, keep an eye on your community members.
Yeah, and something that I know that our two guests, I know that you care. I know you guys know how much you guys see my co-hosts all the time jump up here. Remember, this is dangerous to animals as well. I don't give a damn if they're an outside animal. Do not let them be outside. I believe it was we talked to somebody who was in the animal field, and they said when it's below 20, limit that to 5 minutes. This is below 0. You got to keep your animal, get them out, get them back in, and just be careful. Remember, your fur babies can't handle this either. So So Stephanie, why don't you go on ahead and tell us a little bit about what you are, what you do, and then we're going to bring on our guests and have a lot of fun today.
I'm excited to hear from them. So my name is Stephanie Simoes. Hopefully, this isn't the first time you're joining the show, but maybe it is. So I'll share a little bit about who I am and what I do. I am a cause entrepreneur with One Hope Wine. One Hope is a cause-centered winery out of Napa Valley. What does that mean? Every single bottle of wine that we sell gives back to make an impact. So, of course, we're highlighting the human contract this month. So excited to have them and to be live with them this time, because last time I missed out on that interaction. So really glad to be here today. Not only will every bottle of wine give back to their organization, but in addition, there's a donation made to the One Hope Foundation. So really, it's 2 donations with every single bottle of wine. And through the One Hope Foundation, their main pillars of giving are for clean water, ending hunger, health, and education initiatives. We've donated over $10 million to date to over 42,000 different nonprofit organizations, locally and globally, with some of the most accredited winemakers in the industry, Mari Wells Coyle, Robert Mondavi Jr. So if you're a wine lover, you've probably heard those names before. We are certified organic, and the wine gets delivered across the U.S. to your door in 3 to 5 business days. So you can't get much simpler than that. You can support this incredible organization, which you're going to hear from in just a moment, and give back to them, while filling up your wine rack, or maybe getting some gifts for some events that you might be attending soon. So just really fun way to be able to give back.
That crazy holiday's coming up right in February, right? That one that a lot of people like to celebrate with a nice dinner. And what's that day
Yeah.
called? Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So celebrate your other half with some nice wine, with a nice dinner. Don't go out and spend the extra money. Do it at home. Make a nice meal at home. Have your wine there. Enjoy your own peace. So tell us a little bit about the flyer that we're seeing right now, please.
Yeah. So this is our monthly fundraiser for the Human Contract. If you are not on our Facebook page yet, Community Pay It Forward One Hope Fundraiser on Facebook is the group name. This is all highlighted there, and you can easily connect with Zach and I through that page. But if you take your phone out, hold it up to that QR code, it's going to take you directly to the fundraising link where you can shop for any wine of your choice or any gifts. And 10% is going to go back to the Human Contract of any purchase. In addition, as always, when we come together and raise $50, I will additionally donate another $25 for every 50 we raise together as a group.
I'm so happy that we do this, and it's been such a wonderful partnership. So you will see this flyer once or twice more throughout the show. But I think that what we need to do right now, Stephanie, is bring on our wonderful friends, starting with the founder of the Human Contract, Maria Dolores.
Hi.
And her partner in crime, or non-crime, Mr. Stefan Heinz. How are you two?
Hi, thank you for having us.
Yeah, so nice to be here. Thank you, Zach, and thank you, Stephanie. We also saw the show that the previous show that you made, and it was so much fun and with gratitude to see all the work that you're doing. It's so wonderful, and we're on the Human Contract. We're very happy to be supported and backed by you. And Stephanie, I know your wine is fantastic. I love Napa Valley. I've been there several times.
Love that. Oh, and I'm so glad to be here with you both today. I feel like I have so many questions, and I can't wait to dive into the conversation.
Please, yes.
Yeah, we know when we recorded the last time, we had to record separate. Each of us had to record separate, and I know that Stephanie was she was so mad because she had so many questions and so many comments, and I know that this is such a wonderful idea because it actually worked out perfectly this time. So, but Stephanie, why don't you go on ahead and start us off with any questions that you might have?
Oh my goodness. So I know we were talking before the show, and I just feel like, there's a lot going on in the world right now. Is there a focus on a certain group of people that you guys are really working with and supporting right now? Or I know you're not even in the country right now. So this is why I love this conversation, because I feel like humans and the human culture and everything is is everywhere. So what are some of the things that are a big focus for your organization right now?
The human contract is non-religious, non-party political, and we're not an aid organization. So the human contract is a contract for yourself and with yourself and for the world. So it is these 7 principles about human dignity and about that we have. The principles is based on United Nations Declaration of the Universal Human Rights, but it's also our responsibilities. So it's actually, it's promises to ourselves that we have both rights and responsibilities. It's a promise, it's a contract. Stefan?
It's a message the world needs, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Would you agree?
Absolutely. We went through them in detail in the last show, so I think that's, if you want to deep dive on them there, you can go there. But what are we doing? We are just setting up. We are Swedish. I'm living in Spain, Maria is in Sweden, but we have the foundation with the 501c3 in Texas with our third board member who lives there and works from there. So we are absolutely in the US, but we physically is not. So what we're starting with, the idea to start with is what we call self-ambassador events, or a campaign to assemble, go to a couple of cities in America, and meet people there and educate, talk, train about the 7 promises of the human contract. That's the start. That's meeting people face to face, having a day or 2 together to understand what this really means, and then the ripple effect. You talked about it before, Zach. So if it's a possibility that you can help someone along the way, that's what we are trusting that this will create as well. If you spend a day or a day and a half together with Maria, myself, and all the team, you will have the tools to bring that knowledge home to your community, to your family, to your conversations, to your workplace, and all of that. So person by person, creating this movement.
And I, in my heart, I really do feel American. I'm Swedish American. I feel my mom lived half her life in the States, and I was very happy on how it was received when I was on a tour in September. I was in Sacramento, in Beverly Hills, in Dallas, and talking, and and there will be many more events coming up this year. We had a great start last year, but it will be a fantastic 2024. And it's starting now with you guys. I'm so happy.
I really think that it will. We are going to talk about something that we try to stay away from, in general right now, but I think it's so very important at this time. There is a lot of politics behind oppressing people's civil rights and personal rights. And is this one of the biggest problems, biggest complaints that you guys at the Human Contract hear about?
Well, the human contract is, it's really about the core of humanity. So we need to look at it at a bit broader perspective. And I love to talk about, how broad can we go? Well, it talks, and we start at the beginning of our civilization, right? That's deep. So we start in the beginning of our civilization, and then we had the technology of fire and stone, right? That's the core, 300,000 years ago. And then from each shift in our human history, from each shift going up and up, we were building blocks. And for each block and for each change, technology and our perspective was shifting. And right now, we're standing in a nation-centric thinking. We have building blocks of the justice system, which in Sweden was founded in the 1600, and then on top of that we have the political system and the media, which is a third state of power. And those technologies were or those platforms, those fundaments were based on book printing and the community, and to keep the nation and creating nations. And now again, we have technology supporting and driving us to the next level, which we at the Human Contract, what we call the human. Oh, that's okay. You can skip that. What we talk about in the Human Contract is a global world. We're going from a nation-centric world to a global local world. And the global world is it's both strengthening the community and strengthening the groups, but also starting to see and identify with being a global community. And that's why the 7 principles ties together that. And I noticed that how we have the technology right now, and what we're needing as a humanity is to deepen and to unite, which is the 7th principle, and also to respect each individual, that we have the right to our thoughts, our emotions, our body, our physical and mental health, and how we have both rights and responsibility. But it's in many religions is one of the fundaments of our building blocks through our human history, right? So that building block is essential. But the Human Contract is a contract individually. It goes deeper. And so what you asked, Zach, or in Stephanie, so the shift right now is going from a nation-centric world. And those nations, we still, I believe, we still have nations. However, we're going to the global local world, which is this shift is creating what we call istima. And that in istima is a fictive word. It means learning and life learning. So this istima, you could call it crisis, or you could call it chaos, and on an individual level, it's frustration, aggression, but istima works, and istima and this process that we're going through is on all levels.
And Stefan, istima comes from it's you and I were talking about it yesterday. Can you give me the history on the word itself, istima?
Yeah, Maria, we took this from Tolkien, was it?
Yeah.
So Tolkien, who wrote the story about the ring, what do you call it?
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings and the
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he was then, if I understand it correctly, he was a professor in language, was it? So he created this Elvish language for these books and these now movies. So it's Elvish for life learning. And over the years that we've been working together and understanding that there is no other word that describes istima better than the word istima. There is no English word for it because life learning is only a part of it. Istima is bigger. It's everything that we take along that line of life learning.
The ultimate truth is there is no one person that is more valuable than another person.
Right.
And that seems at times to be lost in society, is that, you know, my people are better than your people, but the truth is we're all people and we're all each other's people. You know, when one person hurts, everyone hurts. And you know, look, when one person falls down and they have to use economic resources, that's hard on all of our taxes. That's hard on everything. So it would make sense to be in our benefit to take and try to lift that person back up and support that person and get them back on their feet, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, and also that, you know, change in the world starts from within. So that's why the first 3 promises is to yourself, and that you do want to make a change. I've been working with addiction and abuse, and in my role working with funerals, and you know, I see people going through this process, and addiction is it's actually from addiction also that I started to see this pattern, that people go from one, what we could call one level of consciousness, some people call, or one perspective of life, and you don't shift from here and just automatically, you know, snap out of it and just shift. You go through a process, and it's with the understanding of and an encouragement of this process, that so when we are in istima, when we are in grief or anger or difficulties, and when we are in chaos and even war that we are in these times, that we need to understand that this is also a process, and it's and it sometimes, you know, from time to, it's a harsh process, and for some people, I do acknowledge that people die in this process, and it's also to see and to face and to go through these difficulties, and to grieve and to mm, to forgive yourself, and to come to a point where you, when you know, when you go into that narrow perspective that is driven by fear, then you come to the point that then you get it, then you broaden perspective. But it is a process, and it's a process of life. It's both individually, in our relationship, in groups, in organizations, in society, and now among nations.
Stephanie?
Yeah, so correct me if I'm kind of going off in a different direction with this. You spoke about building blocks. Seems like a ripple effect of good from like a global standpoint. You mentioned the media being a state of power, and you just mentioned fear, and that's where my mind goes when you hear media, right? Deepening and uniting as people, respect, all of those things I feel are really necessary. And having a good foundation of human ethics is kind of the way I look at that. Does that sound right? Like having a good foundation of just human ethics. So your goal is really to link arms all over the world and create this life learning it, sharing it, teaching it. Am I getting this right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the purpose
I
of
love
the
that.
human contract is a more mature humanity. That's the only purpose, is just that we mature and we take more responsibility individually and in relationships. But it's just to mature and to encourage to mature in your dialogues. You know, when you, as we hear here on the other side of the Atlantic, that, you know, you have chaos, and it's chaotic in America with the politics, which is, it's not only in America, it's really all over. And and because in the fear, you know, people tend to also hold on to, and it becomes even more nation centric. And people, in all nations have movements that is more nationalistic, which is, it's also part of the process, way I see it, because it's not to forget the gemstones that we do have as nations, and just to say, well, you know, let's just smash it all together. Now we're united. Now we're global. Let's, you know, now we'll forget about all the nations, forget about culture, forget about everything. You know, now we're just one happy globe, and if you're not happy, you know, you're out. That's not the reasoning. It's to embrace the gemstones of what we have as nations, and not to forget that. But it's, we don't need to fear. We need to embrace.
Stefan, if we learned more about each other, we would get along better, wouldn't we?
Yes.
You know, I know it seems like a very simple question, but when it comes to somebody like one of the and just to put it simply, a lot of religion or a lot of wars are caused because of differences in ideology and religion. If maybe we took a minute and we tried to understand each other a little bit better, we wouldn't have to harm each other. And we would realize that, you know, just because you are Christian and I'm Muslim, whatever it is, it doesn't mean that, you know, we on an earthly level are that much different. We just believe in something different spiritually. We, you know, but it's not like, you know, I want my God to come down and destroy your world. That's not what this is. But I mean, if we took more time trying to learn about each other's cultures instead of just being pissed at each other's cultures, it would be better, right?
What I would love to answer this in two ways. Fear of the unknown is, of course, causing a lot of these outrage and attacks, verbally or whatever attacks that come out in. It's just, I don't know how to handle this situation, and I'm afraid of whatever can happen over there. So I just need to attack it rather than understand it. And that's why we need the human contract, to have a guidance and an inspiration that from within, from myself, I don't want to be the ignition of that war or that conflict or that. So I rather choose another way in how we communicate and how we interact with each other. But it needs to come from within me. Stephanie, we talked about, you said something before, and I wanted to reply to that as well. And that was, I know everyone, we're lacking another word. Maria, we should find another word in Elvish, because education, me, I never liked school. I did it because I had to, and we, you know, need to learn something. But the education form, which is top down-ish, is not how we learn. learning by doing, learning from I want to learn. It's quicker, easier, and so much easier to connect to you, rather than I'm gonna tell you what you need to know. So yes, education, but no, inspiration rather is what we want to create here. I want to join the human contract movement because I want to join the human contract, not because someone else is telling me you have to. It's because I want to.
And then in this process, so the human contract and these promises is just a framework, and then it's the process is the istima process to mature, and the learning that when we go from different levels, and we're all on different levels, in our understanding of ourselves and one another, and it's just to be kind, be kind to yourself, and in your learning, and to be kind when you see that others are suffering, because they are in their istima.
I like what you just said, because you can tell somebody, the old saying, you can tell somebody that the oven is hot, but if they don't know what hot is, if they don't know what burn is, how are they going to know that that's what it is? That's why, every kid in the world is going to burn themselves once, because they've been told, don't do that. But you know what? It's still going to happen. It's just natural. That's how you're going to learn about something. You're like, I don't like seeing that funky bubble on my finger, because I seared my skin like a steak. And so that's the way that we truly learn. So I love what you said.
And I just want to continue what you said there. Instead of saying, don't do that so you don't get burned, you rather say, do this instead so you don't get burned. Because that's on a positive note, that's on a positive future. Let's do this instead, because that's a better outcome. We have a better result. Instead of highlighting the bad, we are pushing it to the good. Pushing it, but inspiring for the good.
Inspiring, yeah.
Another thing that you said, Zach, and I wanted to comment as well, is of these fear-driven responses and communication and things that we see online and in real life is very much based on assumption. I have an assumption of whatever is going on here, and I summarize it here, and then I just spit it out. Where what we really should do is to communicate and ask this question and understand each other and reason with it and accept there are differences here. But instead, we take that assumption and just go for it. There is a saying, I don't know, I don't want to use the F word but assumption is the bad. I don't want to use that sentence, but you know what I'm thinking of. And that's, again, something that you need to understand and be inspired from within, to say, I don't want to be that person that assumes stuff and act on it. I want to know, really. I want to understand the other side, or the options we are on, not just push on my thought.
Yeah, exactly. And so when we are experiencing istima, when we're experiencing something uncomfortable, I hate that person. That person is so stupid, Okay, so what is the learning in this? what is the learning in this? Is it about me? Is it about my boundaries? Is it about the other person? Is it a, you know, and but actually, you know, when we're pointing at someone, we have three fingers pointing to ourselves. So it's, maybe it says something about them, but it's triggering in me. So what is my learning in this?
It's always scary when you walk into a very, very dark room. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's beyond that doorway. You don't know if there's even a floor there. But if you're able to take a flashlight and you're able to look into it a little bit, you feel a little bit safer. That's kind of what we're looking at here. When you take and you learn a little bit more about something, it's easier to take that next step into accepting what's there. You know, I mean, if you walk into a completely dark room, you don't know if you're going to fall to your injury or fall to your death. If you have a flashlight and you take and you look into it, you can be assured that, you know, that first step's going to be safe. You learn a little bit more.
Would that flashlight be curiosity for you, Zach?
I think that flashlight would be knowledge for me. It would just be knowledge. It would be a tool for knowledge, you know, because I do have an inquisitive mind. I do want to learn. I want to learn about other people's religions. I want to learn about who other people are. I think it's, you know, I want to learn what makes you tick, and I'm going to use every tool at my, you know, at my availability to try to learn something more about you. Because I've said this, Stephanie's heard me say this a dozen times. If I meet somebody who's identical to me, I don't think I'm going to like them very much, because there's me. I'm me, you know. I don't want somebody to be just like me. I want them to be themselves. I want them to, you know, hey, if you hear something I say and you want to take aspects of what I say and go with it and improve on it, God love you. Thank you. That's great. That's awesome. But if you're trying to follow in my footsteps exactly, don't do that. You know, make changes, explore, you know, learn different things, build that next bridge for somebody else to walk over and live a peaceful, happy life.
And since this is a new word, Stephanie, what do you think about Istima? What's your thinking about it?
So I feel like I understand where you're coming from with that word, and this is the first time I'm hearing it, actually. And it's funny because you took the words right out of my mouth as I was sitting here listening. You know, when something doesn't go as you plan, instead of just pointing that finger, you know, and this has taken a lot from me. You know, there are a few situations lately too where I've sat back and said, what am I supposed to learn? There's got to be a reason why this is happening, right? And that it's bothering me in this way. So what's that lesson in it, in this experience? And you spoke a lot about inspiration before, Stefan. And, you know, I feel like what you guys are doing, you know, that saying where, you know, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? That saying, well, that inspiration is going to come from those around you. So if the people around you are practicing, you know, the human contract, these ethics, these principles, that's going to kind of rub off on them. And I know, Maria, you mentioned speaking in the States, in a few different places. And I feel like that and that human connection and in person. And if you're talking about this is how it's going to spread and have more people with that same thought process and on that same, I want to call it a vibe. You know, I want to call it a vibe because I feel like that's what it is. Some people kind of understand it and some may not yet.
You know what's exciting to me, Stephanie, with what you just said, that, you know, you're the average of the people around you. All I could think of is look at the people around me right now. That is so cool. That's exactly what I started thinking of. I just kind of looked around my screen and I saw all the people I'm surrounded by. And you know, if I'm the average of this group, I'm living a damn good life. So, but
the
Stefan,
same, yeah.
yeah, Stefan, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I wanted to answer Stephanie's question, that was, what are we doing? And Zach, you had the website open. If you want to pull that up again and go to the tab, I think it's called Sustainable Foundation. Yes, and then you scroll down there a bit. Yes, so there are 5. So I want to talk about this just 2 minutes. Scroll up is a little there. You have fun. Yeah, art, growth, wellness, tech, and wealth. So what are we doing? We talked about so far events, meeting people in person, having education. Yeah, we need to find another word for that. Inspiration in events. That's of course important. But then we also have media. Of course, all of what we're talking about here is creating something for media. And we are producing short clips of this each principle, getting the word out there. So infotainment, I'm still just on the first row, the Art Institute, which is all about us inspiring others.
Yeah, us as a humanity, or the people who are joining. Yes.
Yeah. So infotainment is whatever that documentaries with a movie or a TV series or TV show that has the underlying message of the human contract. And we have a couple of these lined up to start as soon as we can. So that's just one of the institutes. So the institutes are here, are a part of the foundation to create a sustainable foundation over time. So if you produce a movie, you're not going to give it away. Of course, you're going to sell the rights of it on all platforms in the world. And some of the dividend of that will then sprinkle down back to the foundation to keep it alive forever, more or less. So the Art Institute is just the first one of the 5 institutes that we're talking about here, and they are constructed to reach every people in every walk of life. Maybe you're not the person that want to meet us in person when we come to Boulder, Colorado, or when we go to New York for this event. Maybe you're not that person, but maybe you're that person that you work in a company that has these want to embrace the human contract. So they bring in the human contract certification into the company, like you take an ISO certification or a B Corp certification for your company. Our idea is to have a human contract certification that you as an organization can go through. And that means that all employees then will be a part of this. So you will be reached by the human contract in any walk of life. We have the Wellness Institute, which is what we're talking about here, is actually a physical place where you can go for build a physical building.
Yeah.
This is a couple of years down the line, but this is the holistic way of physical, mental, and relationship health.
Yeah, and also by that, I want to just say, Stefan, that in that project we also are collaborating with award-winning Vanessa Keith, and she was also on Netflix, and she lives in New York. She was on Netflix also talking about future constructions and future architecture. So she's a fantastic person to build and to create this movement is more than just to talk. It's, to walk the walk and to act and to create platforms and forums so that people can live their promises. Yes, Stefan. Yes.
See, we've this show is now almost an hour, okay, and we have maybe doubled over and talked about a couple things that we talked about on the first episode. Okay, that to me is fantastic, because what we're doing is just getting more information out there. And Stefan, you and I were talking about possibly teaming up a little bit more and doing some things here in the near future with the pACT channel. I still want to see that happen so bad, because if every conversation we have like this is just this much fun, I think that we can teach people so many things. Stephanie, you want to go on ahead and talk about your comment?
Yeah, no, one thing that came to mind, and of course, as we're having this conversation, more and more is coming up, is I think this will greatly even improve employee performance, bringing this type of inspiration into places of employment. Not only are you going to reach so many people, but I think, performance will be completely different if that's the good that you're feeding the environment.
Exactly. And honestly, that is my background: human resources and leadership, and how to get effective teams. And that is exactly great. Yes.
And I lived it. Sorry, I just want to echo what Stephanie said. I lived it, because I told you before the recording now, I worked in a software company, and we were very, very engaged with CSR, so corporate social responsibility. And the group of maybe 100 of the 3,000 employees, we were doing all sorts of charity projects. And these 100 people said, hey, I'm kind of done with this job. I want to do something else. But there's no one else doing CSR this good. I'm going to stay because of this. So we kept employees staying for another year or two just because we had that program in. And that's just a small thing compared to human contract. But yes, you're correct. That's exactly so.
Yeah.
It just, like what you were saying, Stephanie, this is just such a great addition to an ethics, program that you would have set up in your business. So, I mean, it's the, problem solving and just there's so much that can be done when it comes to people and getting the way that people treat their customers, your clientele, stuff like this, seeing people in an entirely different light, because you're not, it's a guide in humanity.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah,
I mean,
is.
if you want to think about it, it's a guide in humanity. It's a guide at looking at somebody that, hey, we have our differences, but that's humanity. We're still all at the basic level, we're still all the same person. We're one building block that, our surroundings, yes, made us who we are, but we need the 7 promises. We need those 7 promises to be who we are.
Yeah, and no matter age, no matter background, no matter religion, because and I really want to stress this, that this is not religious. This is pure leadership. It's about life here and now, from when we're born and through our life, that we have rights and responsibilities, but nothing about past or future lives. What is happening in that's not in the realm of the human contract at all. Because sometimes when you have ethics discussions, you get into the religious realm, and it's we don't know. What do you think?
You know,
Yeah.
Maria, you and I met the first time in a speakers meeting, and unfortunately, this is going to air the day after that speakers meeting this month. But I encourage you guys. I believe it's the first and third Tuesday of every month at I think it's 2 Eastern, but right around 2 Eastern. But I encourage anybody who has a podcast. I encourage anybody who's a public speaker. I encourage anybody who deals with people using their mouths, okay, to attend this, because you meet great people like Maria on this. You talk to other people who use words as a tool, and Maria and we would have never met without that. And I think the hard work of what they do, Event Raptor is what it's called.
Yes.
And yeah, so please look it up and come on and join us next month in February. I know they've sold me. I want to be on every single one of their events, just because it's a great place to meet great people. So I just wanted to give them a free shout out, because I love what they've done for me personally, just by this one introduction.
Event Raptor. It's a fun name.
Yeah.
Event Raptor. Yeah.
So, and you meet people obviously all over the world, because
there you go.
Look at this right here. So let me ask you two real quick, and then then Stephanie gets to do the fun part of the show and tell us about the wines. But let me ask you two, are there anything else that you really want to make sure that people hear about before we have Stephanie do the wine part?
So I'm first.
Yeah. You're now.
Yeah. No, I do believe that we should continue, or extend our idea here together. Let's make a series of a couple of podcasts, maybe shorter ones, where more concise, direct about different questions. Please visit our website. Just sign the form, join the the movement. Cost you nothing, and get your own personal human contract to yourself, and start this movement.
I feel guilty. I've been so busy with everything, which is a terrible, terrible excuse, but I've not done it yet. But I promise you, I will get it done. I will make the commitment to get it done.
To yourself and by yourself, and for humanity.
But I think it's one of those things that, you know what, you get it done, and you can print it off. And whenever you're talking to that annoying person on the phone, you can look at it and you can go, okay, wait a minute, stop what you're doing. You're going somewhere where you don't want to go. It's only going to be stressful to you. It's going to make them even worse. Take a breath. Let's come at this again. So I vow that I will have it done by the end of the week. By the time this show airs, I will have signed my human contract. So I will make that. And you can find that human contract on their website. So But Maria, did you have any final words that you wanted to make sure that we touched on?
No, Stefan and I, we are really so happy for this year, and we're so excited of this launch start that we're having, and the movement starting this year.
Well, and one last thing before Stephanie starts, we do have exciting news that we could not announce the last time, but we can this time. Ta-da! The human contract is now a community pay it forward mission partner. You can support the human contract by simply shopping with any of our partners. You can make sure that this information, that the that the word about ISTMA, it gets to the public, that this gets to people, that this helps people. You can do that by shopping with any of our partners, and a portion, 85%, will go to the Human Contract to continue their wonderful, wonderful work to spread the information and to help you sign your own human contract. So welcome to the family, to both of you. Officially, I get to say
Thank
that
you.
now
Thank you.
on
Yes.
the podcast. So I'm so
Thank you,
excited. Stephanie, just Stefan and Maria, we definitely encourage you to stick around and ask Stephanie any questions. But if you guys have to jump off, please feel free. But this is Stephanie's time. She's going to talk to us about the low sugar in wines, right?
Wow.
I am. So with the new year, there's a focus on positive changes. Wow, you would have thought that I, talked to you before planning for this talk, but many people are health conscious, and some are watching what they're consuming, right? It's January, new year, new page. For those who are concerned about cutting wine out of their diet, I have something for you today. So, Zach, if you wouldn't mind, Zach is behind the scenes with
Yep.
all of these amazing things when he shares the screen. But our winemaker has busted.
I gotta find it real quick.
Yeah,
Steph.
no, go ahead.
Everything I've got open.
Go ahead, take your time. But it's really exciting. So our winemaker has busted some myths about your wine in regards to sugar. So I wanted to start off by sharing that, but then I'm going to talk about a few wines as well. And I'm really excited that Maria is familiar with Napa Valley wines, so she'll appreciate this, I hope, this fun talk. So do you want me to dive in, Zach? Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay. In general, and this is coming off the top of that page, I'll just read it really quick. The less expensive wines have more sugar. At more premium AVAs, sugar is not needed to enhance the fruit. But don't go too far on the discovery of sugar in each bottle. Try different wines to determine what you like. A little bit of sugar can taste really great. And in comparison to other foods and beverages, it is actually quite low. So I love this chart as a comparison. So I'm just going to talk about it really quickly before we dive into the wine. You can see the comparison here with the dry wines, 3 grams or less per bottle. Off dry wines, 2 to 9 grams per bottle. We're not talking about a glass. We're talking about the whole bottle, you guys. Sweet wines, 33 grams of sugar per bottle. But even with sweet wines, if you consider just one glass, it's less than 10 M&Ms, much less than a glass of orange juice, and way less than soda. So, think about the things that you consume on a daily basis and consider that before you cut out your glass of wine, because, especially red wine, it's good for you and you're doing good at the same time. So here are some of the dry wines that, if you haven't yet, I recommend you try. Yes, these wines I'm highlighting are included in the Dry January sale going on this month. So you can take advantage of that great discount and support the Human Contract at the same time. This is the lowest I have ever seen our Vintner collection wines. And I know we highlighted that last time, so I'm not going to dive into that. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me through our fundraising page on Facebook, which if you're not on there, you can find it through my link tree that's just underneath my name. And I know Zach put that up on the screen before. Okay, so this is our Vintner Collection Sauvignon Blanc. It has notes of lime, lemon, guava, and starfruit. Pairs really well with citrus sorbet, oysters, grilled artichokes, lemon pie, and a springboard with lemon hummus. So that is our Sauvignon Blanc. I feel like that's a drier wine with a hint of sweetness. That's how I like to, describe it. A hint of sweetness this one has above our Pinot Grigio, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Next up would be our Vintner Collection Pinot Noir. You have heard me talk about this wine many times, I'm sure. I feel like this wine you can have in colder weather, warmer weather. This is like an all-around. Pinot Noir pairs well with a lot of things. And I personally feel like Pinot Noir is something that I could drink year-round. It's not like a seasonal type of situation. So this one has notes of ripe raspberry, dark cherry, and a hint of cinnamon. You can actually drink this chilled or room temperature, your preference. I find that the berries taste different to me when it's chilled. Definitely try it both ways. It pairs well with truffle cheese, fajitas, grilled salmon, and brownies. And I know Zach was talking about that special holiday before. So I'll mention that again. Brownies, chocolate, Valentine's Day might be a good pairing if you're getting a chocolate box or something of that sort.
You know, I actually kind of get a little lucky there because Adrian doesn't like chocolate and stuff like that. So I can go and buy it knowing that, you know, I know where it's going to go. She'll take one and then I get the rest.
She shares with you, huh, Zach?
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, she shares with me and then she gets mad because it's like, you know, I don't even like this stuff. I'm like, but I do. So
that's so funny. Sharing is caring, right?
I'm such a good Valentine.
So funny. All right. So next up is our Vintner Collection Pinot Grigio. This one has notes of ripe stone fruit, light floral, and citrus zest. It pairs well with fresh shellfish, lemon chicken, key lime pie, and a spring garden soup. This is our driest white wine. It's delicious, though. It's crisp, it's light, and like you just saw, you don't have to feel guilty about having a glass. So that is our Pinot Grigio, which you've probably heard me refer to many times. Next up is our Vintner Collection Rosé. And again, if you're looking to support the human contract, you can find these really easily when you go to that QR code that we shared and click the sale tab on the left-hand side. It will bring you right to all of these delicious wines. So this is our Vintner Collection Rosé. It has notes of watermelon, strawberry, Bing cherries, and blood orange. It pairs well with a baked ham, a strawberry salad, grilled tomatoes, fresh herbs, and it's also really delicious blended into a watermelon mint frosé. It's one of those frozen fun drinks that are really simple to make. Yes. So that is our rosé. Frosé, I tend to like not when it's negative weather like it is by Zach. It's quite chilly here, but it is a delicious all-around wine. And last but certainly not least, and if you're familiar with Napa Valley wine, you must have heard of our delicious Cabernet Sauvignon. This is our Vintner Collection Cabernet. It has notes of dark berries, toffee, and hints of vanilla. Pairs really well with blue cheese, roasted beets, beef fillet, and baklava. And if you're like me and you just really love a really great cheeseburger, I'm really easy date that way. The Cabernet Sauvignon is a delicious pairing with a really good cheeseburger. So if you're interested in other collections, check out the sale tab on the fundraising link. There are options for everyone. And let's kick off the new year with lots of give back to this incredible organization. Yes, there is the QR code. If you want to type it into your browser instead of using that, you can do so, onehopewine.com/event, and those 6 digits that are right there on the screen underneath that QR code. And if you have any questions about any of the wines, I'd be happy to help. I'm sure Zach will throw out my link tree one more time. And when we come back to the screen, you'll be able to see it too. You can connect with me through there, through the community Pay It Forward One Hope fundraiser on Facebook, and I'd be happy to help. Hey, if you need any gifts for the upcoming holiday, Valentine's Day, any of those things, happy to help select the perfect wines for the occasion.
And when you scan that QR code, it is going to take you right here to our the campaign for the human contract. So this is what you're going to see when you scan that QR code or you put in the code. the event code, and it takes you right there. You come up here to shop.
Well, you could click shop to support. There's that big black button, Zach, right
Ah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah,
that one
shop
right
to
there.
support.
Hey, yeah. And look at this. It takes you right to all of the sales. And this is what Stephanie was talking about. You don't see this quality of wine this inexpensive. I'm not going to say that C word. This inexpensive. And you can get all of these bottles here by joining the wine club for even less. Tell us a little bit about the wine club, Steph. What are some of the benefits?
Well, yeah. So the wine club is
other than the price,
right. I mean, obviously, you can see that as a wine club member, you get deeper discounts. However, I personally love the free shipping. That to me is worth it in itself. Whether I'm sending a gift or receiving wine myself, I always like to take advantage of the free shipping. However, there are some additional perks. One Hope has kind of revised and enhanced their wine club a little bit, where you're actually getting, with some of your shipments, you're getting some free bottles to try with your shipments. And there's even, access to a tasting at our winery in Napa through the wine club. So lots of perks. I personally I'm that person that just doesn't like to pay for shipping. So it's great to know that you can support the cause that you love so much. Send that donation out. You get to see how much you're donating with each shipment, and you're not paying to send it wherever you want to send it, whether it's to your home or to a recipient that you're sending a gift to.
And all those wines that Stephanie was just teaching us about, they're right here. The low sugar wines. There's the bundle you can get. Right now, if you're not a wine club member, it's $135, a regular $175. So imagine being able to try all these new wines, all this new brand, get these wines delivered straight to your home, beautifully packaged right away, usually within 4 or 5 business days, right, Steph?
Yep, 3 to 5 business days. I've had some people reach out and say, oh my goodness, it's less than 48 hours and my wine is here. You don't have to select a bundle though. All those that I mentioned, you can actually mix and match and build a box of your choice if you'd like. All the ones that we went through today, you can add to a box individually. So if you like a pack, that's great. You can take advantage of the sale. Some of those packs have different collections in them as well. But, if you're, a Cabernet lover and you're going to want a few of those, you can certainly build your own box also.
And remember that you've also got specials like the shimmer bottles. This one's holiday cheer. They've got pink and gold shimmer bottles. You've got the mini bottles. There's so many other options. All you got to do is just go through the site and check it out. And again, the site is the first button on the link tree for Stephanie right there. Link tree Steph's Samos. It's I just encourage you, please shop, try it out. It's great wines. I know my son from Japan was in town, and I've got a few bottles missing. He decided to go on ahead and take them back home with him. So, which was great. He's taken on a new job where he's translating for a friend who sells wine in Japan. And so he was like, well, here, Dad, let me try some of these. And next thing I know, I'm missing bottles of wine. And I'm like going, wait a minute. Why am I paying for your stuff? But I was really happy to do it and getting the name out and what our mission is here.
Yeah, we are really proud to be collaborating with you, Stephanie, and very looking forward to this month and to be helped and supported, backed by you. And from my point, also you said in the beginning, you said drink responsibly, which I think is really key, that it's to to take again responsibility for your actions. And but 90% of humanity is not allergic to alcohol. Only 10% is allergic, which is the people who, you know, overconsume, and it's to deepen into addiction. But it's to, you know, the core value of the human contract to do everything with dignity. And you have a beautiful package. And I haven't told you, but I wanted to tell you that I love your website. It's so beautiful. Great job.
Well,
really beautiful.
I have a compliment to return to Maria, if I can go a little off topic, Zach.
yes.
I have to compliment your hair, Maria. I know I told you I was going to bring this up.
That's fun. Yeah, thank you so much. I get comments about that from everyone, you know.
It's beautiful.
Young women and men I meet on the street, and all ages, like young kids and old ladies. So this is my true hair color. My hair is actually white, and this other is dyed. So yeah, there you have it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
My true hair color now is just old. So, old or gone. You know, so I no longer have a 4-head. I've got like an 8-head going, but it's definitely progressing. I said this to Stephanie when we recorded our part last night, or last time. Steph and I said this to you yesterday. Maria, I wanted to make sure that you knew this. These conversations that we've had in these 2 episodes, these are the conversations that Stephanie and I have. This episode has flown by because these are the conversations that we have when we talk, just as to communicate. This is how we talk. We've got another great friend, Mr. Z. These are our conversations, trying to figure out how we can help people. And I wanted you to know that this was so important, and to get this out and to continue to working hard with you guys to spread this word, because it's so comfortable, because this is the way we talk, and it's so refreshing having you guys on and having part of you guys part of the bringing you guys in. And just to let everybody know, yes, this campaign ends when January ends, but any time from now till whenever, I don't think there is an end, you can support the human contract with One Hope Wines. You are now signed up in that family as well, and that's one of the great things that they did after we started this show. And it was, you know, look, it's just it shows, like you said, Maria, we take it to heart that people have difficulties with alcohol, and our main focus on this show is you guys, is our missions. Our first guest was a recovering alcoholic, and he understood that mission, and he couldn't stick around for the wine part. And his name was Brian Gibson with Project iHeart. I'll give him a shout out. He didn't feel comfortable sticking around for the talk about the wines, but the thing is he understands that, yeah, this isn't, you know, we're not telling you go out and do something irresponsible, or we're not telling you to go out and get as drunk as you possibly can. We want to support One Hope Wines, but our main goal is to let people know there are wonderful programs like One Hope Wine. like Community Pay It Forward out there, that we want to make sure that everything that we do supports something like the human contract. And we want people to really think about it every time that they make a purchase. They can do some great things for some fantastic people every time they shop. And I appreciate you telling us, explaining about, your guys' feelings. So, I mean, it's just, I just appreciate everything. These two shows have been so much fun for me because they've been so comfortable. So, Stephanie, did you have anything?
No, I just want to thank you both for being here and being a part of our monthly campaign. I loved this show so much. And I look forward to more conversations in the future. So thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you. Thank you.
The same. Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, we will. I just, it's such a wonderful program, and I really see such benefit, and I see just how closely we fit together. And we're talking about potentially putting together a couple shows, and with the human contract and adding them to the community pay or the pACT family. Just take blurbs, 10-15 minute blurbs to talk about the promises, and just make sure that people understand what they are and why they're so important. So it's really, really important information, and it's so easy to do. I mean, we're not trying to build Rome here. It's treat others with the utmost respect. It's really very simple. So, hey, our next guest is I love this program because there is so much about this that is good for so many things. We just barely touch on it. And I met Debbie from debspets.com. I met her a couple weeks ago, and I just loved what she was doing and what she's trying to do. And I would like to, in just 1 second, bring her on so you can meet her. And I think that you're going to love her as much as I did. So without any further delay, and let's bring on this interview with Debbie from debspets.com. Hey, everybody, we're back. Once again, Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the pACT channels. Joining me now is Debbie Hayes with debspets.com. That is debspets.com, as you can see there on the screen. You can also see it right above her shoulder there. Deb, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Zach?
I'm doing great. We have a society now that loves our animals, and you've got a way that we can keep our animals even healthier. Why don't you go on ahead and take it from here and tell us a little bit about debspets.com.
Okay. Well, first of all, debspets.com is my personal branding. So anybody that goes to that website will automatically be transferred to the Pet Club 247 website. So don't think that you got in the wrong place. And I do want to add that a portion of purchases that are made this evening will be credited toward community Pay It Forward, so that we will be giving them some donations. You're welcome, Zach. And ongoing purchases, Zach and I will figure out how to work that out, because obviously these aren't something that you give to your pet one time and this is over. So the story actually starts about 20 to 30 years ago and is actually a human story. Woman was diagnosed with very serious illness, had a treatment. When she went back to Sloan Kettering, they said, sorry, there's nothing more we can do for you. You probably have a few weeks to live. Go home and get your affairs in order and enjoy your family. So her son Simon was notifying the family about his mom's predicament. And a cousin in Japan said, I have these supplemental mushrooms. I'm going to send them to you. Have your mom take them. So his mom started taking the supplements. And after the first month, she was what I'm calling cautiously optimistic, because she thought she was feeling a little bit better. She thought her symptoms were lessening. But of course you would say, probably not. It's probably my imagination. But after the third month, she realized that they were going away. She was feeling better, and past the date that Sloan Kettering said that she would probably not live past. So she decided she should go back to Sloan Kettering again. And this time they took their x-ray, they sat down with her and they said, what are you doing? And she's like, well, you told me I wasn't going to live very long. I'm enjoying my family. And then they said, no, that's not what we mean. We mean at the beginning of this journey, what are you doing differently? Oh, my nephew from Japan sent me some mushroom supplements and I'm taking them. Sloan Kettering said, we want all the information that we can get on those mushrooms. They did a study, and that was in fact the first of about 400 studies that have been done between then and now about this particular strain of mushroom. So it's been done by American Cancer Society, Harvard, UPenn. Some of those were done on humans and some of them were done on pets. So fast forward to about 7 years ago, and her son Simon was sitting around the table with 3 other friends, and they were all lamenting the fact that they or some relative close to them or a friend close to them had to put their pet down in the last year. So somebody around that table said, Simon, why can't we put those supplemental mushrooms in a pet treat? And that's what has enhanced the lives of our pets, as Zach was saying previously. So
I would just like to do this real quick, Deb. I would like to show people, when you go to debspets.com, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so now you can see what the website looks like. Let me take the banner off there. And you can see you get this adorable little puppy here with the heart. That is just the cutest damn dog, I'll tell you. So not much of a cat person, but this is giving you a lot more information in here as well. So I just wanted people to see that this is what the website looks like when you go to debspets.com. Sorry for the interruption, but I wanted to get this in.
No problem. Thank you for that. So back to the studies. The study that UPenn did was actually on dogs, and this solidified the thinking of those 4 friends that were sitting around the table, because there was an aggressive form of cancer, and half of the dogs that had the aggressive form of cancer did not take the mushrooms and the other half did. And the half that did take them lived twice as long as the other dogs that did not. So obviously this validated their feeling about giving this to pets. So Zenta, sorry that my whole banner wouldn't fit. Zenta the husky here was really a hot mess. She was 14 years old. She had autoimmune disease. She had paw pads that were peeling, hair falling out in chunks, eyes fogged over. They figured she was probably blind, and she always hid under the table these days. She would not want her parents to pet her, human parents, of course. And wouldn't you know, there were 2 puppies in the family? And I know from having a very old dog and a puppy that you can't tell that puppy, no, your sibling there does not want to play. So she cowered under the table. They took her to the vet. The vet said, hey, she's 14. You've given her a great life. There's no problem with you putting her down. They actually made an appointment to euthanize her. They went home, and of course, they put a little post on Facebook saying that they were going to miss Zenta, that they were going to have to say goodbye. So someone saw that, the people who were actually the first marketers for Pet Club 247, and called and said, can we come over? And they did. They asked the parents, are you open to giving Zenta mushrooms? And Dale goes, no, we're not that kind of people. And Kristen goes, well, good, because this is not that kind of mushroom. So Zenta started taking them. They considered Zenta on doggy hospice, so they were giving her pretty much anything she wanted, and I guess she really liked those mushrooms. So on day 4 of taking the mushrooms, Kurt's sitting on the couch, her human dad, and she jumps up on the couch. She hadn't been on the couch for about 1.5 years. Hadn't been able to jump up herself. But she also stood there and looked at him. This is what gives me goosebumps. Looked at him and was saying, Dad, please pet me. So we want our pets to trust us, to feel secure with us. We want them to experience our unconditional love, just like they have unconditional love for us. But we also do want them to live as long as possible, but a quality of life, not just because we can't bear to say goodbye to them. And Zenta exemplified this. Zenta lived 4.5 years after that vet visit. So she was playing in the lake. She was playing with the puppies now, going for long walks, and having a great life. And a month after she started on the mushrooms, they took her off of all of her meds that the vet had prescribed, and there were a lot of them. I didn't even bother with the list, but yeah, there were a lot. So the other side of that is from the other pup down here, and the skinny guy is mine. We're not only looking for pets who have issues, we're also looking for pets who we want not to have issues. I'm ashamed to admit, I was one of the pet moms who was always looking for the cheapest dog food and the cheapest treats. And then on a virtual networking, I met Kurt, Zenta's dad, and after listening to him for a while, I was convinced that that I was not doing right by my pet. So I didn't have any expectations. And a month after he started using these products, I'm like looking at him and thinking, oh my gosh, he was scratching all the time and he's not scratching anymore. And I just figured dogs were scratching, you know. I didn't really think that much about it. His breath was better. He used to get me up at 2:30 or 3:30 in the morning, and I just figured, he sort of set his clock, and that's when he has to go to the bathroom. But I think he was hungry because there wasn't enough substance in that other food. And because when I started giving him this food, then he started sleeping longer, which obviously I thought was a plus for me.
Oh yeah.
And there were other things as well. And like I said, I had no expectations. So please don't feel that this is only something that is for our pets who already have an issue. So Zach, did you have any questions at this point?
Actually, you know what, Deb, I was just I'm looking online, and I'd like to maybe show people a little bit on what I'm looking at. I've got, you guys, anybody who's ever watched my show knows I have my cohort who usually pops up over my shoulder, Zephyr. She tends to do that. She's got anxiety really bad. And I typed in, or I was here on the dogs, and it asks you to shop by condition.
Right.
I clicked on anxiety and stress, and the first thing that comes up were these CB doggies, which and you look into the treats, and it tells you a little bit about them, gives you all of everything that it helps with. And then I love this. It goes into what other ingredients are in here, and you don't see byproducts or well, it says right there, no artificial preservatives, byproducts, or chemical additives. It's made with garbanzo flour, potato flakes, cheddar cheese, full spectrum hemp oil, beef bouillon, coconut oil, and mixed. Yeah, I'm not even going to try that word. But I'm vitamin E. I like that they give us vitamin E there at the end. So, but yeah, there's so much information that can be found just by searching. You can go with dogs, cats, horses, and humans. I saw chocolate chip cookies in with the humans, so of course that caught my attention because I'm kind of a larger human myself. So I love the chocolate chip cookies. But we had somebody who asked me, you mentioned it a little bit, but what about people who have anxiety about getting high?
Well, there is a small amount of THC, the least amount that is allowed to still call it CBD products, but not enough to get high. There is a CBD product called Elite, which is for like teachers, truck drivers, etc., law enforcement, anybody who's going to be tested and cannot have any THC in their system. But there still is enough CBD to calm them. So I think, does that answer your question?
Yeah, and the thing about CBD, and this is one of the misconceptions that a lot of people who haven't studied CBD, but CBD naturally opens nerve endings, and it allows for better blood flow and for easier healing and natural healing. It helps your body generate what needs to heal itself. CBD does not. It's a chemical that you could take a ton of it, and it's not going to get you high. Okay. THC, as she said, you are dealing with the plant, but this is the part of the plant. The CBD is not the part of the plant that gets you high. It is the THC. That's the chemical that is natural in the plant that gives you the high effect.
Right.
So, and that's the same with psilocybin, is it not? Where psilocybin is not the part that gets you high out of the mushroom, correct?
Right. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, in generally speaking. But to your point, there was a dog that I guess really liked the CBD biscuits because ate the whole bag at one sitting.
That
because
sounds like Ghost. That
because
sounds like Ghost. Yeah.
and didn't even have to go to the hospital or to the vet or anything. Obviously, that would be a choice of the parents to make at that time. We're not trying to give advice that they shouldn't, but yeah. So I thought that was a pretty funny story. Another story, my fur baby, he still gets up early. Get up like 5 or 6 o'clock. So I'll come downstairs, let him out, feed him breakfast, and then lay down on the couch. And one day, it was warmer now, obviously, than it is now. I left the back door open so that when he had to go out again, I didn't have to get up off the couch. I could go back to sleep. He came in and he's like nudging me and nudging me and nudging me. And I'm like, what the heck? I know I left that door open. And I got up and looked, and sure enough, the door was open. There were clouds in the sky. It wasn't supposed to rain that day, and in fact, it did not. But he felt something, and he showed me that he needed one of those biscuits. And I gave it to him, and I don't think I saw him for another 2 hours. He took the biscuit, and he just went off on his own and probably fell asleep. But yeah, I was amazed.
That is.
So a little, obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but we made a contact. The company made a contact with the cousin in Japan, where they had gotten the CBD. Excuse me. We're back to mushrooms. The mushrooms for Simon's mother. They actually had gotten some mushrooms mailed from Japan, because you're not going to keep something like the mother's success secret. So they finally made an agreement with the people in Japan for the proprietary strain, which is now grown in the United States, and also for the proprietary extraction method, or the harvesting. So it's grown in a controlled environment, in an indoor environment, so that it doesn't get any toxins in it. And it's harvested below ground. They take the product from below ground, not from the fruiting body. So the advantage to that, they also take it in the mycelium stage, which means that it's very young. So the advantage to that is that this makes this Coriolis versicolor mushroom the most potent of the mushrooms. The disadvantage is that because it's young, they aren't able to harvest as much product. Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So the other thing is that because they harvest it the way they do, there are 2 polysaccharides. So those help in the delivery system, and those again help make it to be the most potent. It is called the king of mushrooms. So when you think of lettuce, you think of iceberg, which we know is not that potent, if you will. We think of kale and spinach and arugula and all the others. The parent of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom is the turkey tail. And I bring that up because I used to think that they were interchangeable, but they're not. Turkey tail is like lettuce, and Coriolis versicolor is like kale, which I believe is the most potent of the spinaches, or of the lettuces. So that's something to keep in mind when you're looking, because mushrooms are the big fad nowadays. I mean, they do work, so maybe I shouldn't be calling them a fad, but a lot of people are going after mushrooms, and they may be looking for something that's not going to do them that much good. The other thing is that people have noticed that they don't, certain mushrooms don't grow together in the wild, and that, as it turns out, is because they're not all friends with each other. So if you go to the grocery store, pick up a bottle and say, oh, mushrooms, and there's like 10 different mushrooms in here. This must be great. It's not necessarily, because it's not all of those, unless the manufacturer did a lot of research, they're not all going to they're not all going to get along together, which they won't necessarily hurt you, but you want to get the maximum benefits, and you wouldn't get the maximum benefits if they're having an internal fight, so to speak.
That's very true. Yeah, you know, there is a natural order of things, and just because they're the same species does not mean it's the same strain. So that's a great point.
Yeah. So just a couple more stories, or at least one. This dog's name was Pearl Bailey. Is Pearl Bailey? She was having medical issues. She wasn't able to walk very well because she couldn't walk very well. She couldn't get herself to where she needed to be to go to the bathroom appropriately. And the owner started giving her the mushrooms, and within a day and a half, she was sending a video and said, "This is her before, and this is her after, and you can see that she has more energy." She actually got up out of bed and went to where she was supposed to go to the bathroom by herself, and this is after a day and a half. So the pets do see success of some type quite early. And I'm going to tell one other story. One pet had been scheduled to have surgery with the vet for a tumor that was on the neck, and the mushrooms shrunk the tumor enough that the vet said, "Oh wow, we don't have to do surgery now." So that's the other thing. If you keep your pets healthy, then you can avoid some vet visits, which obviously are not inexpensive.
Yeah, all of this stuff that we're talking about is great for inflammation. That it does fight CBD and psilocybin. Both are very good for inflammation and once again for pain relief. It is all natural. Deb, this is such great information. I love the story. Being a pet lover, sometimes a pet owner all the time, it's nice to see that there's something out there that I can give my family, knowing that it's one, pure, and two, really, really good for them. Do they come out with new products quite often, or is it a pretty stable line?
They'll be coming out with some more in May. We do have a conference in May. Trying to think of the last one. I've been to two, and oh yeah, the last one they came out with the double chocolate cookies, not for dogs, of course, not for pets. Sorry, I have a dog. You can tell I always forget and say instead of pets, say dog. But those are for people. They do have the mushroom in them. And before that, they came out with they had already had freeze-dried food for the dogs, but they came out with freeze-dried food for the cats.
Wow. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, definitely don't give the chocolate chips to your animals. Chocolates are toxic to animals, and besides that, who would share their chocolate chip cookies with anyone? I wouldn't, but then again, I'm stingy. So, Deb, I want to thank you very much for joining us. And again, I would like to remind everyone that if you order tonight through debspets.com, a portion of this is going to go to support Community Pay It Forward. Thank you so much for that. I greatly appreciate it. So get on the website, debspets.com, and do your shopping now. Get your pets healthy. Deb, do you have any last words?
Just if people have any questions, that's the easiest way to get in touch with me.
I found LinkedIn is a really easy way to get a hold of you.
Okay.
And you can find her information on LinkedIn. If you go to this link right here, let me get it, pop up here. There it is. You just go to Debbie Hayes, Arizona, and you will find her. So, Deb, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Why don't you come back in and keep us updated when new items come out, okay?
Will do.
All right. We've been talking to Deb Hayes of debspets.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Literally have 30 seconds to thank everyone. Deb, who you just saw, make sure that you order from her tonight. Support all the good that we do here, including our 22-hour podcast for veteran mental health and veteran suicide. Parents in Northern Colorado, make sure that you scan this code. Tell us how many tickets you need. The first 8 families in Northern Colorado that get a hold of us, we'll have an opportunity to take up to 4 tickets to go with us on Saturday to see the Colorado Grit. Thank you to the Human Contract. Thank you to the Goddess of the Grape, Stephanie Samos. And thank you mostly to you for watching. And please join us again as we try to put business with people who need help and make this a better place to live. My name is Zach Clayton with Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care. And I thank you so very much.
Stepping out of her fear, bring me home. Out alone, show me the way. You wanna be a part of Sunset Boulevard.